Hey guys, as always, thanks for stopping by. A traitor to the Second Amendment. Yep, let's talk about that. Today's episode is brought to you by all of you Patriots. Every thumbs up is a huge help. Thanks for all the support. Everything that y'all do is super encouraging to me. Plus, I enjoy sticking it back to the YouTube algorithm. So every comment down below is a help. Last video, or a couple videos ago, y'all said y'all did the nonsense comment thing. That was a lot of fun. A lot of nonsense going on in the comment section. Type whatever you want. It helps the algorithm. A thumbs up is a huge help. So thanks for all of that. I'd go through a pandemic any day with all of you Patriots. Y'all rock. Y'all really do. So thanks. All right, it's supposed to be Spicy Friday, and boy, I've got some spice for you, but I do think we need to talk about this. I want to get this on your radar, go through a little bit about what I call a traitor to the Second Amendment, and I do believe that, and I think you're going to see that as well. I want to get this on your radar, and then I want to ask you about your districts and what's going on with you guys in your states and your local areas as well. Meet Xochitl Torres Small. She's a congresswoman. U.S. District number 2 out of New Mexico, so the 2nd Congressional District. Torres Small was elected in 2018, so this is her first re-election season going on right now, and she campaigned as a moderate. I'm okay with that. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that as well. I'm okay with moderates. Most of America is kind of in the middle. Not kind of. Most of America is in the middle. There's extremes on both ends, of course, but she campaigned as a moderate and won. Now, the 2nd District is an absolute whopper. The 2nd District of New Mexico is one of the biggest districts in the nation. It's heavily impoverished. There is a lot of oil there, but there's also a lot of low socioeconomic communities, and it is historically a red, not just a red state, but also a red district. They vote heavily red in presidential elections. They have for the last 20 years. But as far as the Congress races, those are also mostly red. Now, that election in 2018 with Torres Small winning was hotly contested. It came down to the next day after the election. Suddenly, the Democrats found a whole bunch of more or uncounted absentee ballots, and that's been a little bit contested, a little bit of a brouhaha there, but she won. Torres Small has been in office for 2 years. Now, here's where it gets interesting, and I think this matters. I think you're going to see it. Xochitl Torres Small campaigned as pro-gun, and she had this ad in her 2018 campaign. This was one of the first ads she put out there, and there she is holding a shotgun in a little bit of a questionable fashion, but we'll cut her some slack. She's a lawyer and was trained from the East Coast, so a Georgetown lawyer trying to handle a shotgun. We're going to call that, boys and girls, the word of the day is pandering. Maybe not at the time, I didn't know it was pandering, but today I think we can safely call it pandering. So she campaigns as pro-gun, as a moderate. She is a member currently of the Blue Dog Democrats. I like that. I mean, if we're going to have a Democrat, at least it's a Blue Dog Democrat. Let me say this really clearly. Y'all ask me all the time, and I have a lot of viewers. Right now, there's people that are watching that are pro-gun, pro-freedom, and also vote Democrat. And I have people emailing all the time and they say, Johnny, it's okay to be Democrat. Why are you so hard on the Dems? Well, it's pretty easy. And y'all know I'm not 100% pro-Republican. They make me angry, bleeping angry. However, if there is going to be a bill introduced this year in 2020, and look at all of the bills of the last 20 years, those bills that are anti-gun, anti-freedom, anti-what we care about, and anti-anything that allows me to protect my family and to exercise my constitutional rights, those bills are almost exclusively written and supported by the Democrats. This is not some big jump. I didn't come up with this. However, Torres Small did campaign as a Democrat. She is a member of the Blue Dog Democrats, and she did campaign as Democrat. I meant to say she campaigned as pro-Second Amendment, had this nice fancy, hey, I'm a hunter, watch me with a shotgun. So then it turns out the first thing she did after she got to Washington was she voted with Nancy Pelosi in her anti-gun bill. It's a gun control bill, so she did that. And I want to say clearly, it's okay to be moderate. I want to say that very clearly. It's okay if you're a moderate. I'm okay. We can still be friends. I do think, again, the whole issue of the Democrats creating the anti-gun legislation, it's not good, and I won't stand for that. Now, fast forward, Torres Small did campaign as 2018, pro-gun. Fast forward to today, and she has voted with Nancy Pelosi. Fast forward to this election, one of her first, I think it was her first campaign ad in this election, she came out and said, I stood with Trump and I stand with Trump. I think her words were, I'm working with Trump. Well, she also voted to impeach Trump, and that is called, boys and girls, pandering. That's the word of the day, more pandering going on. And then here's the issue of why this came out this week and why we're talking about it. Torres Small has hired as her new campaign manager Emma Cacano. I think that's how you say it. If I say that the wrong way, I don't mean that disrespectfully, but her name is Emma. I looked her up on her LinkedIn account. There's a picture of her. That came from her LinkedIn account. And she is a gun lobbyist and is a pure through and through thoroughbred of a gun lobbyist. She has worked for Bloomberg's Everytown, and that Everytown system, that is a beast of a system. That is the enemy. So you have this lady who has campaigned and won on a pro-gun platform, voted anti-gun as soon as she got to Washington, voted to impeach the president, and has now hired a gun lobbyist to run her campaign. This is a problem. I want to say it very clearly. I'm calling that traitorous to specifically the Second Amendment, and this matters. I have expectations. When I sat down to do my notes today, I wrote the word expectations down. When you campaign as pro-gun, pro-Second Amendment, and you put these flashy commercials out for an impoverished community, and they see that, well, they do have expectations. And I have expectations of how you're going to be voting in the future. And to hire a gun lobbyist, not acceptable. Now, let's talk about you. How is the area where you're at right now? I think right now, right before these coming elections, we need to watch, we need to go back through and pay attention to what's going on our state level and on our local level as well. My local congressman for the state of Tennessee, not for the DC level, but to head to Nashville, he's campaigning right now, and I'm watching that. I'm watching how he's voted. I'm going back through, and I'm curating what these folks have done in the past. This is why we need to stay on top of it. I needed to get this message out, not just to New Mexico folks, but to all of us to have this on our radar. I believe it matters, and I think you do as well. And once again, we get to the point where two things. One, politicians will say one thing and then do another. We shouldn't be shocked. We also landed on the moon just recently. This is what they do, but they need to be held accountable. And secondly, we've got, once again, Bloomberg's hands and his fingers rolling into politics. This is a Bloomberg-trained operative, this Emma lady, who is now running a campaign for a fraud. And in many ways, I think this matters both in New Mexico, but also in many ways it matters for us as well. Yes, I know what Bloomberg is doing right now in Minnesota. Jared at Guns and Gadgets is on top of that. We all need to be aware of that. But all of this stuff absolutely matters. I skipped Spicy Friday to get this onto your radar. I would like to hear your comments right down below. What do you think? To anyone that is against us, our passions, our freedoms, how we protect our families, how we protect our loved ones, and the constitutional right that is guaranteed within the Bill of Rights, ratified in 1791 and written by James Madison. I hold to it, and boy, do I honor it even to this day. It matters to anyone that is against all of that. Yep, from my cold, dead hands. Bye.